The morning air hung heavy with fog. Buckingham Palace stood in eerie silence. A deep gray mist curled around the gates. Even the guards seemed more statues than men. Queen Elizabeth awoke before dawn. A strange dream had pulled her from sleep. She remembered the sound of whispers, voices speaking in a language she did not know. She sat up slowly, the silk sheets cold against her skin. The room was colder than usual. The fireplace had long gone out. She rang the bell for her maid, but no one came. The bell string felt damp in her hand. She pulled it again, harder. Still silence. The ticking of the grandfather clock filled the room like a heartbeat. Tick, tick, tick. She rose from the bed, wrapped her robe tightly. Each step across the marble floor echoed. Something was wrong. The palace never slept this deeply. As she opened the door to the hallway, the lights flickered. Once, twice. Then they stayed off. Only the dim light of dawn spilled through stained glass windows. The hallway stretched long and empty. Portraits of kings and queens stared from the walls. Their painted eyes seemed to follow her. Her footsteps whispered against the red carpet. The scent of old wood and wax filled her nose. She called out, "Margaret." No answer. "Charles?" "Anyone?" Silence answered her back. The silence felt thick, like it had weight. A sudden gust of wind slammed a door at the end of the corridor. She flinched. The echo rang like a gunshot. She picked up pace, heading toward the royal chapel. That was where the dream had ended. A candle burned outside the chapel door. Its flame leaned sideways, as if afraid. She pushed the heavy door open. The chapel was empty, or so it seemed. Shadows moved along the walls. The stained glass cast blood-red shapes across the altar. The same whispers from her dream returned. This time real. Not in her mind. She turned. No one behind her. But the whispers grew louder. One voice broke through the rest. It spoke her name, Elizabeth. The voice was not familiar, not British, not human. It was hollow, like wind through a crypt. She backed away, heart pounding. Suddenly, the floor beneath her trembled. The stone altar began to shift. A low groan echoed beneath her feet. She stared as it slid open, slow, deliberate, heavy. From the darkness below, a hand emerged, pale, thin, trembling. And then, the hand gripped the edge of the altar. Its skin was ashen, like it had never seen sunlight. Fingernails long, yellowed, cracked. It moved with agonizing slowness. Queen Elizabeth could not move. Her feet felt rooted to the marble floor. Her breath caught in her chest. The air in the chapel turned icy. The candle flickered violently, then died. Darkness swallowed everything. The whispers returned, louder now, circling her, pressing in. Elizabeth. She remembers. She returns. The voice was no longer hollow. It was layered. Thousands of voices inside one. The hand was followed by an arm, then a shoulder. A figure pulled itself from the darkness beneath the altar. It wore no crown, no robe, only shadows. Its face was veiled in something like smoke, but its eyes, two burning points of white fire. Not human, not spirit, something else. The queen took a step back, then another. But the floor groaned beneath her again. It shifted, tilted. The stones moved like a puzzle unlocking itself. She stumbled, gripped the chapel pew. The wood was wet, sticky. She looked down. Red. Not candle wax. Blood. Fresh. Still warm. She turned back to the altar. The creature was standing now. Fully risen. Tall. Gaunt. Timeless. And it smiled. A slow, terrible smile. "You should not have remembered," it said. Its voice echoed across centuries. "What are you?" she whispered. The question escaped her before she could stop it. It answered without hesitation. "I am what your crown was built to hide." The wind howled through the stained glass windows. The glass cracked, but did not shatter. The paintings on the walls began to weep. Tears of dark crimson rolled down the painted faces. Elizabeth reached for the cross around her neck. It burned her skin. She gasped. Let it fall. The creature took a step closer. Stone footsteps echoed louder than they should. You dreamed of me, it said. You invited me back. I was buried beneath your reign. But memory is a door. She backed into a column. The stone felt warm now, like something alive pulsed behind it. She tried to scream. No sound came, only the tick, tick, tick of the grandfather clock. But it was not in the chapel. It was inside her ears, inside her skull, growing louder, faster. And then, a second hand gripped her wrist, smaller, cold, not the creature's. She looked down. A child stood beside her, eyes black as obsidian, skin pale as paper. The child whispered, You forgot us. You all forgot. The chapel doors slammed shut. The candle relit on its own. But the flame was blue. The creature raised its arm. Let memory return, it said. And the floor split open. Wide, dark, endless. The floor cracked like ice beneath her feet. Stone split with a deafening roar. Dust rose in choking clouds. From the abyss below, more whispers surged upward. Screaming, weeping, begging. Queen Elizabeth staggered back. The child's hand still gripped her wrist. Its touch burned like frost. Let go of me, she said softly. The child only stared, unblinking, unmoving. Then it smiled. A slow, sorrowful smile. You crowned a kingdom, it said, but buried a curse. The creature stepped closer to the edge of the broken floor. Its robes of shadow dragged behind like smoke on water. Figures began to rise from the darkness. Not climbing, floating. Faces pale as bone. Eyes sewn shut. Mouths wide open. They hovered in silence. Hundreds. Thousands. Every face she saw she recognized. A knight. A maid. A poet. A child. They were people from portraits, from books, from stories, from history, from her own memory. All forgotten. All erased. The chapel trembled again. Stained glass exploded inward. Shards rained down like jeweled knives. She shielded her face, felt the sting of one cut across her cheek. Warm blood ran down her neck. The creature pointed at her. Do you remember what you were told the night you were crowned? She did. But she had never spoken it aloud. Not in all these years. She had been 19. Alone. Terrified. And the archbishop had leaned in close, behind the veil of the ceremony, and whispered, You are the lock. We have buried the key. The queen's breath caught. It could not be true. That phrase, it had haunted her, meant nothing. Until now. You, the creature said, are the last gate. You were a crown forged to silence us. You stood over our bones. And you smiled. The floating figures moaned in unison. A long, low wail that shook the chapel walls. The child looked up at her, tears of ink spilling down its face. You do not even remember my name, it said. The queen shook her head. I do not know who you are. You called me Hope, the child said. And then you left me. The floor gave one final crack. And then it collapsed. She fell. She fell into darkness. No air. No sound. No end. The abyss swallowed her whole. Memories tumbled through her mind like shattered glass. Faces. Names. Laughter. Cries. Moments she had buried beneath ceremony and silence. She was not falling through space. She was falling through time. Every forgotten soul drifted past her. Some reached for her. Others turned away. Their voices layered into a single, thunderous whisper. Remember. And then, stillness. She stood. But not in the chapel. Not in the palace. Not anywhere she recognized. A vast, empty plain stretched beneath a sky of pale gray. In the distance, a throne stood alone. Cracked. Covered in vines. Upon it sat a crown. Not gold. Not jeweled. But made of bone and ash. The child appeared beside her again,
but now older.
eyes softer.
Still sad.
You wore one crown, it said, but you must choose another. Queen Elizabeth stepped forward. The wind whispered around her. Not cruel, but mournful. She looked at the broken throne. The weight of centuries pressed on her shoulders. I did not know, she said quietly. The child nodded. You were not meant to. But the dream chose you. She reached out and lifted the crown of ash. It was cold in her hands, heavy with memory, heavy with loss. She placed it on her head. The ground trembled. The sky cracked open with light. A single burst of warmth flooded the plain. The floating souls rose, higher and higher, like stars lifting into the dawn. And then,
silence.
Peaceful,
Deep.
final. Queen Elizabeth awoke in her chamber. Sunlight spilled through the window. Birds chirped beyond the glass. The fire crackled in the hearth. The bell string lay still. A silver tray of tea waited beside her bed. Everything as it had been. But she knew something had changed. She rose slowly, walked to the mirror. A faint line of ash crossed her forehead, just above her brow. She touched it gently and whispered one word: hope. Outside, the bells of the palace rang. But this time, they sounded like memory, not mourning. What if the crown you wear is not a symbol of power, but a lock, hiding something beneath centuries of silence? What if Queen Elizabeth, the most recognized monarch of our time, was never told the whole truth about her throne? What if, on one forgotten morning, she woke up alone in Buckingham Palace, to find the walls whispering, the chapel bleeding, and something ancient rising from beneath the altar? This is not history. This is not legend. This is a secret buried under stone, now clawing its way back into the light. Candle, a moment of silence hides a century of screams, and Queen Elizabeth is about to remember them all. I watch till the end, because the truth will not wait quietly. And some names were never meant to be forgotten. Tap play.
Turn up the volume.
And do not look away.